In this video, we will be doing an oil change on a 2018 Acura MDX. The process is similar for Acura MDXs from 2014 to 2020. We will go over tools required for this job. Pay attention as some are necessary and some are optional. We will cover the items one by one. On the right hand side of your screen, you'll see a spray can of brake cleaner. The oil filter is located in a place where it drains onto one of the suspension arms. I've seen in MDX comments a lot of people like to use Ziploc bags, so if that's your preference you can do that. The way we're going to do it is with the brake cleaner. We're just going to clean it up afterwards. I went to the Acura dealership because it's a video here, and I thought they'd give me an oil filter with an Acura brand on it, but it was actually just a Honda brand. And the drain plug washer that's taped onto it is from the Acura dealership. These seem to be the same across all Honda and Acura models. Here's the part number I was given at Acura for the oil filter. And there's a look at the washer for the drain plug. In terms of oil, we're using a full synthetic 0W20. This car takes 5.4 liters or 5.7 quarts when you are doing the change with the oil filter. We have 10 liters here because I'm doing a change for another vehicle as well. But if you're gonna go buy this stuff, you just need to get one 5-liter jug and a 1-liter jug for this vehicle. If you're changing the oil on a driveway with an incline, you're going to have to take the car into the street where it's level to do your final check on your oil level and possibly fill slightly more. You can use metal strap wrenches to take the oil filter off. These metal pliers for oil filters are usually very good, as you can use them on a vertical way to really clamp onto the filter and dig into it in order to release it in case somebody has really tightened it on there. An old washer fluid container is always good to have for emptying the oil into, because sometimes you're going to have leftover into your bottle and you'll want something for disposal. In the center of your screen, you see a ratchet and 17mm sockets. You can use a deep socket or a short socket with a small extension in order to crack the 17mm bolt loose. You can use a 3/8 ratchet or a 1/2-inch ratchet, whichever one works for you. If you are lifting the car, you're going to want a jack to lift it from the front cross member and at least 2 jack stands to support the car. If you also remove the wheel, 22mm socket and a breaker bar. For those removing the wheel, crack the lug nuts loose while the car is on the ground, raise it up and remove the lug nuts, take the wheel off. I will be removing the wheel and raising the car for filming purposes, but as mentioned earlier, this is not required. Here we have 4 bricks for chalking the rear wheels in case you're working on a driveway with an incline like this one, and if you end up using jack stands, this is an optional part of the job. In the case that you have a small enough head and chest, you don't even need to raise this car in order to do the oil change. You can access both the oil filter and the drain plug with the car completely on the ground. You're going to want some microfiber rags for cleanup, and a small drain pan doesn't hurt while you're waiting for all of the oil to drain both from the actual drain plug of the car and underneath the oil filter housing. So the small one is for that. This is also optional. You will also want a oil drain pan and a funnel for refilling the oil, and you can use one of your rags to clean up the same funnel at the end in order to pour your old oil into the washer fluid container or your now empty oil containers. Foam interlocking mats, 1 or 2 of them is nice for when you slide under the car from the front on your back, and a piece of cardboard in the oil filter area and drain plug area is okay if you think you don't have the skills to get it out without much spillage. One of the main points to take in here is when you undo the drain plug, you want to thread it out by hand, keeping firm inwards pressure as you're going, and then right as you get to the last thread, you quickly want to move the drain plug out with your hand. That'll have the least amount of spillage from the drain plug. Once you have hand tightened the oil filter and put the drain plug back, fill up the oil, feeling about 5.4 liters going in. When reinstalling the oil filter, pour a little bit of oil into the cap that comes with the bottle and use your clean finger to lubricate the O-ring. Then just put it on snug, hand tight. You don't want to put it on too tight. It'll give you a headache when you come to take it off in the future. Put the drain plug back with the new drain plug washer. Fill up the oil filter at least halfway, as this will help with lubrication on first start. If you fill up the oil filter the whole way, it's about 0.3 liters. Whatever you do fill it up with, subtract that from 5.4. So say if you fill it up halfway, 5.4 minus 1.5, you're going to try to get at least 5.25 liters of oil in on your first pour. It's not going to be exact, just feel it out. And then once the car is on a level ground, you're going to check with the dipstick, let the oil cycle for 30 seconds, and then add if necessary. You can also just use the kit that comes with the spare tire for the car if you don't want to go out and buy a 22 and a breaker bar. Here we are at the front emblem. We'll go straight down under. This steel tubular bar with this bracket here is the front lifting point. Open the hood. Here we are at the front emblem. This stuff is located pretty deep in there. Here's the front hood latch. We're moving back inside here. Right down there is the oil filler cap. You want to open this up for ventilation before you undo the drain plug. We're going to move across to the passenger side. There you have the dipstick. Pull the dipstick up slightly to aid in ventilation as well. Here we are at the front again. Go straight down underneath. So your reference point is this portion of your exhaust here, which is curved. Okay, go towards the passenger wheel, and in big letters it says engine oil with an arrow pointing at the 17mm drain plug. Have your foam mats under the car. Put your piece of cardboard in that area underneath the oil drain plug. Place your drain pan and crack the bolt loose. I had to undo the drain plug for the camera there. You guys might have an easier time and have less of a mess when you take it out. But the thing is, with the socket, I'm using a 1/2 inch with a reducer. You want something about this short, okay? Because when I put the deep socket on there first, the frame rails actually get in the way. So you want a shorter 17 if you can to break the drain plug loose. So here we are looking in from the passenger side wheel well. If you have not removed the wheel, just turn the car's wheels all the way to the right and stick your head in from this area to access what we're going to go over next. As you can see, I've just turned the oil drain pan horizontally in order to be underneath the oil filter as well. From this location, here we go up, and there's the oil filter right there. So at this point, there's a few different things that you can do. If you really want to make it easy for yourself, this plastic shield with that star shape in the middle just has a couple of push rivets that you can remove to flap it back, but it really is not necessary. Some people prefer, this is where your Ziploc bag would come in to avoid spillage on that area there. You can put that around there as you undo the oil filter, or you can just undo it and then clean it off with some brake cleaner. The oil filter wrench that's going to work best in this area is the adjustable one with the teeth. As you will see, I will go in from under. Doesn't matter to damage the old one. Clamp onto it and crack it loose. Make sure to have your oil drain pan underneath to catch some of the oil that spills, but you don't want to be under the car to loosen this. You're best off being through the wheel well for this one. It's very easy if you remove the car and put it on jack stands. This is the filter wrench that I'm going to use, and approach it from underneath with the tips pointing up, grabbing the oil filter. Make sure to remove your old drain plug washer and spray it down with a little bit of brake clean to clean everything up. Wipe it off with a rag and install your new drain plug washer, and thread this bolt in by hand. Do not cross thread it, and then snug it down with your ratchet. If you want to use a torque wrench, you can do 29 foot-pounds, but snugging it down until the bolt is bottomed out is fine. Here is the old oil filter. You want to make sure that the gasket comes off with it. Sometimes, in a rare case, the gasket will stay on the car side, and then if you install the new filter and have a double gasket in there, you're going to get a huge oil leak when you go to start the car, and it's not going to be a fun cleanup. So make sure the old filter comes out with its gasket. Before you go back under the car, slide these items underneath: your new oil filter, your ratchet with your 17, your new oil drain plug washer, and your clean drain plug. Snug the oil filter hand tight. No filter wrenches to tighten. It's best to have a few pairs of gloves, but if you don't have them, you can just use a rag to give you better grip on the oil filter. You're best off starting the oil filter from inside the wheel well, and then slide underneath the car and reach in with your hand at that gap at the bottom of your screen, and you can give more torque with it with your body to snug it down. You can also take your bottle of brake clean back underneath with you in order to clean the bit of the mess underneath the frame as well. It does not matter which way you install the drain plug washer. Either way works. You're most likely going to have tools and a drain pan that are oily. The best way to avoid too much cleanup is to just grab your piece of cardboard and pull it out from under the car with everything that's on it. Here's our finished pullout with the oily tools, and underneath we've got a clean driveway. You want to keep this platform until the end, because this piece of cardboard is going to be what you're going to use to pour your old oil out of your drain pan into your washer fluid container for disposal. You might have some spillage. Just do it on this piece of cardboard before you throw it away. At this point, you can lower the car back on the ground and fill your oil. When you put it back, make sure to thread the lug nuts in by hand, then set the car on the ground and do your final tighten on the ground. The longer your funnel is, the easier it is for this job, as the oil fill is quite low in there. With this short normal funnel though, it's just fine. I'm going to put it in there, and with a little bit of control you can fill it with a normal funnel. There's the funnel placed inside of the oil fill hole. Make sure to clean the inside of your funnel with a clean microfiber towel so that there's no debris going in. If you flip the funnel around where the higher part of it is pointing towards the emblem of the car, and you fill it in from the driver's side headlight area over the side, this has the least chance for spillage. After you've eyeballed the amount, based on if you put oil inside the filter, subtract that, turn the car on, turn the car off after 30 seconds, and check the oil level. Top off if necessary based on the indication on the dipstick. It's important to do these checks with cars on level ground. You see, I've moved the car out from the driveway to do this check. remove the dipstick and clean it off, put it back in, take it out and check the level. If you need to add more, add a little more, turn the car on to cycle the oil and check again. You want the oil level to be on that cross-hatched piece there. As you can see, our oil level is fine. If you need to add a little bit, add some oil. If you have overfilled it, you're going to need to crack the drain plug and let some oil out. Do your best not to overfill. It's better to underfill and then to add. It's also important to wait about a minute after turning the car off to check this, as all the oil will go back into the drain pan at that point. Next, we're going to go and reset the oil light. In order to reset the oil light, you want to use this knob in the center. It moves right and left, and you push enter by clicking in. Here you can see maintenance past due. We are going to go into the screen here. You see maintenance info there. You just use the knob to go side to side until you get to maintenance info, and then by rotating the knob you go to maintenance reset. You press enter. We have engine oil. We are going to click reset, so enter, reset. Oil life 100%. It's that easy. Now we come back over here to this screen, and as you can see, the warning is gone and this vehicle is ready to be used again. If you do get a little bit of oil on the ground, it's not a big deal. You can put some cat litter on it to absorb it, or you can start off by using a bigger piece of cardboard. After you've emptied the oil filter, place the old one in the box for the new one and put a rubber band around it so it doesn't spill around in your car. On the right you can see there, that's one of the empty oil bottles, the new ones, with a little bit of oil in it, and the washer fluid bottle with the other dirty oil. On the left is the one that I put just a little swig in to make it the full 5.4 liters. I'm going to save that one for another car, and everything else, just take it to your local auto parts store for disposal. If you do get a few drips on your driveway, wipe out any of the residual that's left inside of the subframe and you'll be fine. That oil dripping is not you making a mistake. It just likes to run around in that subframe.